All right. Well, I really screwed up. My my background check just came back, and I was under the impression that everything was a-okay. I have no, nothing to hide, nothing to be running away from, nothing whatsoever. And my background check came back, and turns out that there actually was something there that I just really was not expecting. So, how are you guys doing? This is Valencia Flyer. Hope you're doing great today. I've had better days. Like I said, my background check just came back, and I found something on there that I was not expecting. When I first saw it, um, I was sure that it wasn't me. I'm sure that it was a mistake of some sort. And the more I researched it, the more that it dawned on me that that it wasn't a mistake. And come to find out, I really screwed up. So let me tell you a little bit about what's happening. So, as you may or may not know, I'm in the process of trying to become a flight attendant for a major airline here in the US. Everything has been going really, really well so far. I applied. It's now been probably around 3 months since I first applied, and went through, some tests here and there online, scenarios, whatever they've asked me. I've gone through the whole thing, and luckily, I've been fortunate enough to go through everything and move on to the next stage. If you see my very first video, you'll see that I was in my hotel room getting ready to go to my face-to-face interview, and I did well. I think I was very excited to be there, and I think I did well, and to the point where I actually did get a CJO. So, yay me! That was good stuff. So after that, typically you go through a background check, fill out some paperwork, et cetera, move on to the next steps to get to step number 6, which I call step number 6 in this case, which is doing training. But before that, you have to do some paperwork and go through a background check, et cetera, the things that they normally do for a new employee. And I was so sure that I was not going to have any issues because, again, there's nothing I have to hide. I haven't really gotten into any kind of trouble, which is great. Um, but something came back. And when it did, I come to find out that it was something from something that I had forgotten, something that I neglected to take care of. So let me tell you the story. Way back in 2019, I did get a moving traffic ticket, basically, and and at the time, I think it was sometime in September or October or something like that of 2019. Uh, Went to the court. We, struck a deal. They gave me a year to complete whatever I had to complete, pay the fine or whatever like that. Okay, great. A year. Awesome. Great. That's great. That's more than enough time. No problem whatsoever. It wasn't that big of a deal. It wasn't a lot of money, but I still had a year to take care of it. So, of course, life happens, and the unexpected that we all did not expect in March of 2020, the world shuts down. Pandemic decides to rear its ugly head, and of course, all the courts shut down. Everything shuts down, right? And in that same year, I actually moved from California State to Washington State. So there was a lot of things that were going on in my life in that year. I'm sure with everyone here watching, I'm sure they had a lot going on as well. I actually did get COVID in that year, and luckily came through with no problem, got my vaccinations, the whole 9 yards. But in all of that, I forgot to take care of this ticket. And because the courts were closed, I couldn't go, and yeah, it was my fault. I mean, honestly, it was just my stupid fault that I completely forgot. So when you forget to do these sort of things, it's the automatic process that a ticket like this turns into something much bigger, right? Something much bigger in the court system, and that's what ended up showing up on my background report. After making a lot of calls and trying to figure out, like, what the hell is this, right? I come to find out that that's exactly what it was. So I completely freaked out. My whole family were like, "Oh my God, why did you forget?" And of course, it's not like I did it on purpose, right? But I just forgot. So I find this out on a Monday, and I'm freaking out because I don't want this to kick me out of the running. Now, at this point in time, from my understanding, it's still within the background check company. It hasn't necessarily gotten to the airline yet. It's within the background check company. So, of course, I sprang into action. And what ended up happening is literally I found this out on a Monday. I called the court on a Tuesday because I found out late on Monday. I've called the court on Tuesday, say, hey, look, this, what can I do to fix this? I need to do everything I can to fix this. And of course, they tell me, well, the only thing that you can do at this point is see a judge and talk to him, and that's the first step is talking to a judge. So Tuesday night, I fly straight to Los Angeles and show up in court first thing on Wednesday morning. Yeah, it was just so. I mean, this was the big hustle for me to take care of all of this. And luckily, I showed up there on Wednesday, and after speaking with the judge and the whole thing, luckily, he decided to terminate the whole case. So yes, that was great. But I again, this still is on my record, and I'm still trying to avoid getting kicked out from the running from my airline. So luckily, I did everything I could. I got all my paperwork taken care of. I paid whatever fees I had to take care of, and the whole 9 yards. But I just don't know if that's going to be enough. So this was a couple days ago, and I have to figure out what's going to happen from here on in. I'm going to try to do my very best to plead my case and explain to them it was just something that I forgot. It wasn't anything criminal of any sort. It's just because of life happening and whatever. It just it slipped my mind. Honestly, it completely slipped my mind. Totally my fault, but just it slipped my mind. So that's where I stand right now. I'm going to see, hopefully, that this doesn't really mess me up. I'm going to send all my documentation, letting them know that I took care of everything, letting them know that the judge did terminate the case. So that's really good on my part. And just writing an email to the best of my ability, just pleading my case and explaining to them, that I'm an idiot and that I forgot. So we'll see what happens. But after all of this work and after all of these months of just doing everything, I really hope that this doesn't mess me up. So we'll find out what happens. Stay tuned, and I will let you know what the next word is that I get, and hopefully it doesn't mess me up. So let this be a warning to anyone who's doing this. They really do a thorough job in going through the whole background check and everything like that. And because this is kind of like it's associated with the FAA, right? So it's kind of like I guess a federal job to a certain extent, right? That they're pretty serious about this sort of stuff. So yeah. All right. Well, we'll see how this all turns out. All right. We'll talk soon.